Hey there. This review for our DCC Lankhmar adventures, and Maddie's going to help out with the review today, I guess. So in game, we picked up a couple weeks have passed since our last session, and we concluded that adventure, trying to obtain those masks and such. We were joined actually in this session. My friend Steve actually rejoined the group. So and my son wasn't able to make it, and so we still had 3 players. And he came in with a warrior named Batu, who's basically based off a Mongolian horseman, which is neat because he's an archer. Probably won't get much chance to use the horseman aspect of his character, but being in the city and all, but we definitely could use another warrior in the group, so that was great. So we're basically hanging out in our apartment, which is located in Vagabond Court. It's the slums, and Shelba arrives and has summoned Rock to the marsh outside of the city, and he offers to teach him a new spell. So this is how we narratively dealt with my son's character, who couldn't be played. So we escort him out of the city into this storm, into this god-awful marsh outside the city, where Rourke basically is picked up by Shelba, who's got this hut that's on like these spindly legs, and off they go into the swamp, kind of leaving us in the road. And we were like, why did we come all the way out here? But probably for protection, because it's probably not safe to travel out there by yourself, especially if you're just a wizard, a lowly first level wizard. And we find out that he's going to be gone for about a week. So we return to the city through the marsh gate. We got to pay to get back in, which was like, okay. And then, that's actually kind of, I think, common. I think that gets overlooked a lot in games and stuff, like taxes and fees and stuff like that. Like, city's got to make money, right? We end up going to a place called the Feathered Behemoth Inn to kind of get some drinks, and we're looking for some rumors for work, right? So we got a little bit of loot from our previous adventures, but we haven't fenced it yet. So we're looking for more jobs. We hear a couple things. We hear about this gem merchant who's, fairly well off, but for some reason he's hanging out with this playwright that's kind of like has a horrible reputation of writing horrible plays and just being a lowlife. They've been hanging out together, which people are finding weird. Birds have been dying, which that has an effect because a lot of people in the city use the birds to deliver messages, to include the Thieves Guild. We don't really care that the Thieves Guild's operations are getting disrupted because we're not members of the Thieves Guild, and actually kind of have crossed blades with them, as it may. And there's been this smog rolling in. But we do learn that there's an aviary in the city, and we may want to, if we want to follow up on this, we should go talk to that guy. But we haven't done that quite yet. We do decide that we have all this loot that we need to get rid of, so we actually have coin for it. So one of my contacts is a guy named Ruga, and he's a fence. And in the generation stuff, like my character actually owes Ruga a favor. For what reason, we're not sure, but in his backstory, he owes Ruga a favor. So we go. Ruga's located on Damp Street, and that's one of the things that Lankhmar, one of the many things so far that Lankhmar does very well, is like a real city, all the streets have names. So it's kind of fun for us to look at the map and find the street and find where we're at. Because we're doing the game Theater of the Mind. We're not using miniatures or anything like that, but we are using maps and such. So it's nice to be able to look at the map, and it's actually got a named street on it. That gets forgotten a lot too, I think, in gaming. So we go see Ruga. On the way, we are ambushed by members of the Slayers Brotherhood. They pull up in like these carts, and from under the carts they pull out crossbows and they start shooting at us. They were posing as merchants actually. So we have a little brief fight with those guys, um, and we're able to defeat them. But we're right on the street, so we want to kind of be a little more discreet. So we throw the bodies in a cart and truck them down a side alley to kind of just dispose of them, quietly. My character, I liberate, crossbow because I was just looking at them, thinking about buying one, and then these guys had them, so I was like, well, that'll save me some coins. So I liberate a crossbow. But before we get too far into like rifling their pockets, one of the dead actually rises up and tells us that we have been marked for death and attack. So we end up fighting this guy, and this undead member of the Slayer's Brotherhood. We dispatch him, but this draws attention to the guards. We try some hiding. Dice rolling sucks, but we are able to avoid dealing with the city watch. So we're pretty lucky. We end up going to Ruger's Emporium. After that, we finally make it. We parse out our loot to him. That was a lot of fun because there was some good role play there between us and Ruger and negotiating prices and stuff like that, to get a better deal. So, and we did pretty well at that actually. So we made off with a fair amount of coin from our previous session. We leave Ruger's, and as we're walking down the street, outside stairwell peels off a building and falls and hits Foster and does quite a bit of damage. I don't know how close he was to being dropped, but it did a lot of damage. And then we dig him out, get on our way again, and this kid who's playing in the street with a toy, it shoots out and it almost trips Batu, and which is weird. And then we're going along, and there's this priest that's kind of inciting a crowd that kind of runs me over a little bit, and he's preaching about the winged Tira. I'm going to get that wrong. Chris can jump in. So we end up going back to our apartment. We're like, something's up. Like, we keep getting like these weird things keep happening. So we get back to our apartment, and we kind of, with those weird happenings and what the undead member of the Slayer's Brotherhood told us, we think we've been cursed. So we're like, well, we got to do something about this. So this isn't good. So we end up going down to 5 Knife Point Market, and we speak with a seeress there named Vinglia, and she ends up before we actually talk to her though, in 5 Knife Point Market, we have a guy there named Albus that he is the one that gave us the information about Ygritte of the East. And so we go and talk to him. I throw him a couple coins to keep the information flowing if he gets any leads. And we talk to him for a little bit. So that was fun to get to interact with that NPC. And then we go to Vinglia's, and she rolls the bones for us and tells us that we've been marked for death and will soon die. She also tells us that Sid Rula the Sage can tell us how to break the curse, but she doesn't want to have anything to do with us. Like, she is now deathly afraid of us and wants us away from her. So we oblige her and leave. And Sid Rula can be found at the Leather Library. We make our way there. On our way there, more things happen to us, so the curse is continuing. It's not good. We need to fix this because eventually it's just going to take us out. We meet with Sidrula, and he tells us that he's seen our names in Death's ledger. So he goes on to tell us about this adventurer named Selwinder that escaped Death's list, and something about the Burned Man, which I think is a book. Maybe it isn't a book, but we have to find the Burned Man and deliver it it will tell us how to get out of Death's Ledger, I guess. So we have to find this, and there's a manner that we have to find, and that's the last bit of information we get, that I remember anyway. So we left off there, and that's where we'll pick up this week, hopefully. We did play last week, so we're planning to play this week as well. So we will hopefully pick up from there and get a handle on this curse, and get rid of it, because it's a kind of a problem, like trying to travel around the city and just random things keep happening to us that none are good. So we will see where that takes us. But yeah, session number 5. Again, really enjoying DCC and Lankhmar. So I thank everybody for watching, and I'll catch you at the next one.